I mean, art's in the eye of the beholder, right? This is just a way of expressing ourselves. It's freedom of expression in a much more loud way. That's simulated, Otto.
That was cool.
Get the real thing.
It goes so fast.
Yeah, it's extremely fast. You know, it is on par or stronger than the actual factory one.
So the 3D printed is better than what you can buy? For this?
For this one, I would say, yeah.
It's a brave new world.
This is the Liberator, the first 3D printed gun created by Cody Wilson in 2013. 3D printing technology has come a long way since then, and so have the guns. Sometimes made entirely from plastic and just a few metal parts, today's 3D printed guns can look and feel like factory-made weapons. They're technically ghost guns, untraceable firearms with no serial numbers. Only 10 states and Washington, D.C. have laws on ghost guns, and they're virtually unregulated federally.
It is just like buying anything else online. The choices here, though, could be deadly.
The most common ghost guns come partially finished, with all the necessary parts in a box.
Dave, these ghost guns are all too familiar for police in Philadelphia.
Well, a sudden rise in the number of untraceable guns has law enforcement scrambling to react.
Yeah, they're called ghost guns.
With gun violence on the rise in some U.S. cities, the Biden administration is cracking down, and the president is taking aim at ghost gun kits in particular.
Want to rein in the proliferation of so-called ghost guns. Anyone from a criminal to a terrorist can buy this kit in as little as 30 minutes, put together a weapon.
But building a 3D printed gun from scratch isn't quite so easy, and there's another side to ghost guns. A nerdy group of inventors and designers who just love to build and tinker with 3D printed guns. And that brings us here to this shooting range in Florida, which is hosting the first ever shooting competition exclusively for ghost guns.
I think my hammer broke. Uh-oh.
To see what today's 3D printed guns are capable of, I decided to enter the contest. But first, I needed a ghost gun.
The very first thing I printed was for my daughter. She's 5. She's like, what kind of stuff does it make? I'm like, well, it can make all kinds of stuff. It can make toys. She's like, can it make a cat? It can make a cat. So the very first thing I printed was a cat for her. And then second thing I printed was a gun for me.
Rob Pincus lives and breathes guns. He's an ex-cop who now teaches classes on self-defense and firearms safety. He helped organize the shooting contest, and he agreed to help us build our ghost gun.
So we have looked at our options and decided to print a Glock 19. So this will be our ghost Glock. I guess the question for people is, what is a ghost gun? Like, what defines a ghost gun?
You know, it really depends on who you ask. That's the problem. Ghost gun started out sort of as an internal conversation in the gun community. Like, well, that gun, there's no record of it existing, right? So when you make your own gun, in this case 3D printing, you're making a gun that no one else knows exists if you don't want them to, right?
So for our purposes here today, because we're 3D printing this gun frame and it doesn't have a serial number on it, if the ATF wanted to try to figure out where this gun came from, if I didn't tell them, they would have no way to know.
Absolutely, right.
And that is totally legal.
Right.
This is my first 3D printing experience, and it will be the first time I have shot a handgun in quite a long time.
You aren't like a ringer. I mean, you're not gonna like win the competition.
Well, I'm coming in, I'm aiming to win, but I don't expect it.
Well, if you do, there's gonna be questions asked.
How long start to finish do you think it's gonna take to print this Glock frame?
I'm thinking this should be 16 hours.
Longer than it would take to go to the store and buy it.
You have to want to do it this way. I don't know who the person is that falls into the weird zone where they're not just they don't want to buy a gun, they can't buy a gun, but they really want a gun. And this is the path of least resistance, as opposed to finding somebody to buy a gun for them or buying a gun illegally, you know, out of somebody's trunk somewhere.
All right, we've got our gun frame on this little card here. Now we're gonna put it in the printer and make it happen.
16 hours later, we'll come back so you can see we're 5 minutes in and 0% of the layers.
It's wild that this becomes a firearm. Still wrapping my head around that a little bit.
A group called Are We Cool Yet has been pushing the envelope recently with 3D printed guns. They release the plans on the internet for anyone to download, hyping up their new designs on YouTube and Instagram. Are We Cool Yet claims their work isn't just protected by the right to bear arms, but also the First Amendment and the right to freedom of expression, because their guns are works of art. The shooting match in Florida was the first time many of the members met face-to-face, and the first time anyone from the group spoke to the media.
So you see on your hat, on the guns,
Yes.
AWCY.
Yes.
What does it stand for and what is it?
Are We Cool Yet? The group name was actually used for like an SCP channel. It was used to kind of hide the group for a while until we decided that, we didn't really want to be hidden anymore.
Why did you want to be hidden in the first place?
Just because of the political situation out there right now. There's a lot of members from states where this stuff is in the gray, not necessarily illegal, but it's frowned upon, and they feel like there would be reprisals against them at work or at school or, wherever they tend to reside.
How did you get into the 3D printed gun community?
Oh man, so I've always loved firearms. I love building them. Honestly, I'll say I like building them more than I like shooting them, just because I like putting things together. And 3D printing was just the next step to that.
So what are we looking at here?
So this is based off of the Scorpion, which is a CZ Evo design. This one is obviously extremely modified. Really, just for the event, I thought, why not go big or go home?
You talk about this, you use the word art to describe
Yes.
this. People see this and see a weapon, you see art. What's the distinction?
I mean, art's in the eye of the beholder, right? So this is just a way of expressing ourselves. It's freedom of expression in a much more loud way.
Most art can't be used to kill people if you wanted to.
Yes, it could be used for harm, but I feel like most people that are gonna do that are gonna go out and steal one, or the amount of effort that you put into these, you're not gonna do that just to go and do someone harm.
While I sat with Xander, the ghost gun was busy printing. After 18 hours, it was almost finished, or so I thought. Turns out, printing the gun is only half the process.
All right, Rob, it's day 2. It's been about 18 hours of printing later, and we have what looks more or less like the frame of a gun.
There's a frame of a firearm inside of there with the supports, and of course on that raft we did for adhesion. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a clean print. It even has, your text on the side.
In order to turn a 3D printed piece of plastic into a gun, we need metal parts.
You
At
need the
least a
metal
few.
parts. Technically, could you build one out of all plastic? Yes. Is it going to be reliable and awesome? Probably not.
Okay.
Right?
These are about $320 worth of parts that we ordered off of the internet, delivered here to assemble this into a gun. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Perfect. That's a lot of people think they know what they're doing, and then they just kind of get down a bunny trail.
I think what scares people is that literally anyone with a printer and plastic could make this.
But why is that a problem?
Because people who are legally barred from getting a firearm, like a convicted felon, for example, could make this themselves.
But do you not believe in one paying their debt, reforming, going through the process,
that's a different
getting
question.
their votes back?
Different question is whether or not that law is just.
The solution, first of all, is accepting the reality that freedom isn't safe, right? So once you accept freedom isn't safe, now how do we mitigate the risks that come with freedom?
I think that there's just the fundamental difference in politically in America right now. People who say guns should have as little regulation as possible because of the Second Amendment, and people who say it's so easy to get a gun, anyone can do it, and that's causing high rates of gun violence. And the troubling thing for a lot of people about what we're seeing here is this is sort of like the last frontier of no matter what the government will try to do to regulate gun sales, now someone could just buy a printer and a roll of plastic and make this.
Let's table that debate for a second. Okay, you think guns should be harder to get. Does that mean you want to start regulating rolls of plastic and 3D printers?
That's the slippery slope that we've gotten to of like, how do you, even if the government wanted to stop this, could they? And I think the answer is pretty clearly no. Okay. Where do I start?
Start with that little guy.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, it's looking more and more like a gun.
You should probably give it a good whack.
So this is the barrel and the slide.
Yep, so pop that open, like, with strength. Yes. Now check the fit, like see if the slide slides. Does it look even left to right?
Honestly, I'm not sure what I'm looking for. Oh, I see. I think I put this on backwards.
Don't let it flat and hit your eye. All right, now the moment of truth. Does it go onto the frame?
Moment of truth.
Boom. You, sir.
We just made a ghost gun. We're roughly 4.5 hours from picking up the plastic off the printer and assembling all of the bits and pieces.
I am genuinely curious. I mean, just from a standpoint of the hype, if you will, right? The politician, the rhetoric around ghost guns. Is this the easy path to guns?
It is not easy. This is quite a process that without your expertise and tools, I would have been lost.
It would all be kind of anticlimactic if we didn't actually go try to shoot it, right?
So we're gonna try to shoot it.
I think we should.
Okay, let's go shoot our ghost guns.
All right, but you have shot before.
Yes, it's been a while, long
Okay.
while.
All right, fair enough. Just gonna load up a few rounds. We have to make sure the guns cycle, so that's what we're concerned about, right?
So-
First one should be a given.
When I've explained this to people, like my mom is like, this gun's not just gonna blow apart in your hands. That's very low probability.
Honestly, the most likely thing that's gonna happen is the gun's just not gonna function smoothly.
Okay, I'm with you so far.
Any big questions?
Is this gonna be okay?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was gonna be okay.
All right, let's do it then.
Pull and release. Okay, so right there, that's a functioning issue, right?
There are guns.
And we're gonna cheat this a little bit. Smack the back of the gun. Nope. So let me see it. Just so it looks like we're pretty jammed up there. Now, all right, so that's still not quite perfectly going in the battery.
All right, here's the moment of truth.
Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. And you hit the target.
All right.
So there you go. First shot, successful. We fist bumping or we high-fiving? I'm not sure. I almost feel like we should hug, but I don't know if they're far enough away from Corona. All right.
It's just jamming every time.
Yep. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna work on it a little bit more.
Back to the filing.
You love the filing, man.
Jams.
Maybe try like making like a tiger noise. Can you do it? Yeah, like that. Still not quite going into battery.
Is this a common thing as you've built guns that they all have this little hiccup with
Little
your
hiccups.
first?
Yeah, that's very common. And the other common thing is that as a new shooter, you're not strong behind the gun. There you go. It worked. And it locked open, and you hit the target. All right, now you have 2 shots in a row. Now you have an operational semi-automatic gun.
It got real.
You don't look convinced, but this is part of the process, right? Your ghost gun is kind of ready.
Kinda ready.
Yep, we just need to get you, we'll get you some more practice tomorrow before the match.
Back at the shooting range, today is contest day. I just signed up. We're gonna enter the pistol I 3D printed in this first ever shooting contest just for homemade 3D printed guns. We're gonna see how it goes. Rob Pincus helped me print it 2 days ago. I did print it.
Slices, dices, circumcises, juliennes. We'll see what happens.
Welcome to the first Gunmakers match. This event is definitely a adventure. It's gonna be competition in there somewhere. It's gonna be a lot of show and tell. It's gonna be a lot of like friendliness, happiness, and all that. Meet the guys from Aussie, which is pronounced 17 different ways. Are we cool yet? These guys have worked incredibly hard to make sure that this was gonna happen. But this is really what we want to be the first of many celebrations of what I call like a freedom hobby. All right, gun making. And that's what it is. And for some of us, it's, hey, I want to make my own gun. I want the government involved. For some of us, it's, I want a custom gun that has my logo or my name or my grip angle or whatever I want. For other people, it's, I want to create designs that never existed before and share them with all of Earth, Durwood, right? After the competition, we're going to set up some areas where we can do show and tell. But enjoy the day. Thank you.
Make it look so easy.
Well, it is.
I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I fired about 5 bullets total so far out of this gun.
All right, man, you ready to go?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Yep.
Good. Oh, we jammed. Reliability is a problem with this weapon. Okay.
Don't shoot Karen.
Jamming again. So my gun kept jamming. This was our issue when we were test firing a couple days ago after the gun was ready, but it wouldn't properly eject the bullet and load another bullet into the chamber. I guess it's an issue with not filing that slide enough to get it running smoothly. It just shows that you can spend hours making these guns and it still doesn't work the way it's supposed to work.
I wasn't the only one with jamming problems. 3D printed guns might look just like the real thing, but even the most hardcore 3D gun makers struggle with reliability.
Rob, I have sad news to deliver.
What do you got?
It jammed repeatedly. Did not finish.
You're a jammer?
Jammed.
How many shots you get out?
6 maybe?
All right, did you check to see if the thing was touching the other thing in there?
Every round it was jamming on the shell ejection and not cleanly reloading another one.
This is horrible. It's horrible news.
I know.
I feel like you need to use the ghost gun frame with a different top end.
He's getting that slide.
Hey, Barrett, grab me a little thing of oil.
So Rob is very kind, and he's explaining that we need a new part. So we're gonna swap in a new slide top part of the gun, and hopefully that will make the action better to be able to eject the shell and reload a new one. So the semi-automatic weapon actually functions semi-automatically.
Oh, Keegan's a lover. I mean, you can tell, right? I mean, he's got soft hands, first of all, right? That's a sign right there, right? He takes care of himself, right? He's well-groomed. Man cares about himself means he cares about other people. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, that's so much better. Just that alone was better.
Cool. Looks like it's running nice and smooth.
That's much better. All right, round 2 with a new Glock slide swapped in. So I'm getting my second chance at round 1. See how it goes. How's that stack up to the competition? Pretty well. All right, I'll take it. I'll take pretty well. Good job. I'd like for the record to show that I did not suck it up completely and that I did okay. Ghost gun is performing its duties well now, I guess. It's hot.
All right. Thank you all for coming. This will be the last run of the day. This is the 3D printed only side match. The contestants have only been allowed a barrel and springs and/or self DIY bolt. Everything you see here is 100% they did it. There's no ands, ors, or buts about it. Come on, let's get some cheering in here. Let's see what they can do.
Hi everybody, my name is Ben. I sometimes go by online, insert meow or IMA. This is the Mod 9 V1 with a mod barrel system. I think my hammer broke.
This is the PPS 43 printed receiver, handmade bolt by me.
Run up and stab him!
Click.
No.
Stuck on my shirt.
What do we got
next?
This gun is the FGC-9. I had nothing to do with the design of it, but I love anything that goes bang, so, you know.
Okay, here we go. So I need to say something to people when
You want to?
Okay.
I think you should.
Yeah. This is the new King Cobra. It's designed by Durwood and Mussey. It's still under development, but hope to be getting it out to everybody real soon.
This is Durwood, or at least that's his handle on the internet. He's a legend in the 3D printed gun world, mostly because his guns are totally unique and seem to work better than everyone else's. I met him the day before the match.
Here we go.
Durwood's designs allow for guns to be built using almost entirely homemade parts. He makes the blueprints public for people to make or modify however they want. His work inspired something called the FGC-9, or Fuck Gun Control 9mm, which is turned up in Europe, where the laws on gun ownership are very strict.
Now you're seeing these guns pop up all over the world.
Yeah, and that's fulfilling. That's very fulfilling.
Even in Europe, where it's used as this sort of like...
I'm not so happy with that.
Yeah.
Because, hey, they got laws over there. Obey your local laws. I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything illegal.
And this is just purely your own interest and enjoyment. There's no deeper motivation than that?
Not really. I haven't ever made a dime off of it. I've invested thousands just in the hobby. Yeah, but no, I haven't made a red cent.
You mind if I shoot your gun?
I don't care.
Just keeps going.
Thank you for being here. I'm gonna go put some holes in paper right now.
All right.
This is Cody Wilson, the inventor of the first 3D printed gun. When Vice spoke to him in 2013, Wilson predicted a world where 3D printing technology would evolve to the point where it would be impossible for the government to stop.
Gun control for us is a fantasy in a way that, like, people say, well, you're being unrealistic about printing a gun. I think it's more unrealistic now, especially going forward, to think you could ever control this technology.
Wilson makes money off a website that hosts 3D printed gun files, and by selling a machine called the Ghost Gunner, which helps convert partially finished gun parts into assault rifles. He's also gotten into trouble with the law, but not for guns. In 2019, Wilson pled guilty to injuring a child for sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl he met on the internet. He got 7 years probation and was required to register as a sex offender.
When you started out creating the 3D gun at the very beginning, did you, in your wildest dreams, think that it would come this far so fast?
Yeah, I literally thought this is how it should happen. This was what it would look like. It would be these types of people, these young men, quasi-alienated, but actually rather lettered if you talk with them, with political outlooks. I thought there was a risk that the politics would be diluted over time, but in fact, no. There's a kind of ironic engagement that the Zoomer, I think, influx added to it, which is perfect.
You talk about ironic. What about it's ironic to you?
The files, the activity will always be met with some level of police repression, either on the internet or in actuality. Like, maybe you won't be able to own a gun in this country in 10 years, or maybe you won't be able to build a gun in this country in 10 years. And these guys are kind of already playing with that future in an ironic and distasteful way. They're vulgarizing it, they're making it mobile, they're making it too flexible to be contained.
Is there any limit that you have in terms of where this should go or where it should stop?
No, I find no limiting principle. I can't find one or describe one. These guys are practicing something that is at once distasteful to the legacy gun manufacturers as much as it is to the activist wine moms and all that stuff. So it's a matter of taste and artistic principle.
If the government wanted to stop this, to outlaw it, to make it impossible for people to get files, could they do it?
The government should invent a time machine and kill me 7 years ago. It's far too late, no. The equipment, the 3D printing, it's so cheap. You can make anything, you can design anything.
Coming close. This is our first time doing this match, so lots and lots of reasons why this should have been a complete and miserable failure. And it wasn't. We will start with the printed pistol. Granted, this comes with a little bit of an asterisk, needing a slide change. Keegan Hamilton, third place. All right, if you have a build that you would like to be up for People's Choice, popular build, sexy build people love, build that may or not actually work, doesn't matter, bring it out here and stand in front of the Jordan.
Applause. If you like it, if you don't like it, just be quiet, I guess. Here we go, guys.
The guys at the shooting contest like to say 3D printed guns are just a fun hobby. But according to a leaked report from the Department of Justice, first obtained by The Trace, authorities recovered nearly 24,000 ghost guns at crime scenes in recent years. And guns aren't the only concern. Are We Cool Yet has designed 3D printed 37mm flare guns that are just a short step away from grenade launchers. The US military has been working on the real thing.
What's something that couldn't be made before at home that can now be made using a 3D printer as far as explosives go?
So a 3D printed bomblet similar to these, where you would have an explosives charge inside that with some type of switch on there to initiate the explosive and dropped from a UAV, UAS typically onto our troops.
So somebody attaches that to a drone, flies it over, drops it, boom.
Correct.
And what's stopping someone from making that in the United States today?
Don't believe there's anything stopping somebody from making this in the United States today.
Just recently, over the last weekend, they had the first ever shooting competition for exclusively 3D printed and homemade firearms. And there was some really impressive designs on display. From 100%, almost every single part of the gun was either home manufactured or printed, to kit guns on the other end of the spectrum.
Sure. So when you talk about those guns and unique designs, right? Only limited by the imagination of the builder.
And there's some really good imaginations out there.
Absolutely.
You want to see some of these guns?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
This is my trophy for third place. This is a little tour of all of the hardware.
Wow. I mean, some of the concern there is that some of those look like toys. You know, especially with the neon colors. And
this one is 100% homemade. All the metal parts are homemade.
No kidding.
That's how far it's come.
Maybe some of them look like Nerf guns.
This one's 100% invented design. There's no model that they're basing that off of.
Wow.
This is the Scorpion Evo in full auto.
No kidding.
And this guy's got his SOT license. So what do you think about that?
That's wow. It's future, right?
Yeah.
There are several recent cases where ghost guns have turned up in the hands of white supremacists and extremists in the US, and in Europe too. And the fear is these weapons will keep falling into the wrong hands in the coming years. The Biden administration wants to require serial numbers on some unfinished gun parts and restrict mail-order ghost gun kits. But in a victory for Cody Wilson and ghost guns, a federal appeals court recently lifted restrictions on how 3D printed gun files can be shared online. No matter how the law changes, probably too late to contain ghost guns.
Joe Biden, this is no country for old men.
Is there a way to keep that out of the hands of bad guys and only in the hands of these people who are doing it just for the fun of it?
As long as they're used for their intended purposes by people that legally can have firearms, I don't have an issue with that. I don't think ATF has an issue with that. It's when people use those firearms for criminal purposes that's when it becomes a problem.
Around back. Come here, Aaron. Around back. Up here. Photo op. Somebody that's good at photos, make sure I get this.
Contest is over. Now we need to do something about the ghost gun. I can't bring it home with me. It's going to come back from whence it came, which is melted plastic. I mean, certainly we saw that it's not easy to print and make your own gun. We're still in a world where you need a lot of expertise, a lot of just time and labor to make this thing work, and then even then it doesn't work perfectly.
Right.
But the future, it's going to get easier and easier and easier and lower the barrier of entry to getting a gun. And in your eyes, that's a good thing.
Absolutely, because here's the thing. Think of it this way. I know this is counterintuitive for a lot of people, but the more people who have guns, the more normal gun ownership is, the more responsible the community will be, and also the more educated the community will be in judging responsibility, right? But I think it's really important to acknowledge that, I don't think everybody should have a gun. I think everybody who wants to be a responsible gun owner should have that option, who wants to and is capable of, obviously, right?
Let's make one fewer gun right now.
How do you feel? I mean, you put a lot of work into this.
There is a tiny part of me that is like, damn, I spent a long time filing away on that thing. Like, my hard work is going up in flames.
Right.